Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is going to be a little bit of a late night video, but I kind of just wanted to talk about something that I've noticed from a psychological standpoint, even a cultural standpoint. I'm even seeing this in the church today too. And I'm just kind of noticing how a lot of the content from a lot of like Black content creators, and it could just be because of my algorithm and the way that it's filtered. I mean, there's some white content creators on there, and I'm not here to compare the difference in like cultures per se. I'm just more so trying to like shine a light and bring this sense of awareness and how we really perpetuate certain things, i.e. the hateration. Like, I have never seen so many content creators get online and just talk about that's why they don't like you and that's why they hate you because da 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 da. And it's so funny because I've seen people carry this type of mentality, and it's almost like just arrogance. Like, it seems like it just creates big-headed people, and it's like people who nobody is even thinking about them. There's absolutely no haters. It's like they just kind of start to develop this type of persona, and they feel validated by this type of content. But a bigger question for me is, why do people feel the need to create this type of content, right? Like, is it prophetic for some people? Maybe, but I just feel like generally seeing how we're being enabled by certain content creators and people who perpetuate certain like attitudes, and like, I don't get it. Like, what is it with this persistent beef, this imaginary beef with people on the internet? What is it with this persistent, like, just a sidebar, I literally sat and I thought about little friendship breakdowns, right? Things that were going on in my mind. I don't know why my eyes look like this. I think it's the camera or the light or something. I don't know what's going on, but I literally sat and thought about like friendship breakdowns, and I thought about, I can't even really, I'm like not trying to do this, but like, y'all, why do my eyes look like that? Like, I think it's the camera. Okay, let me not be weird. But I thought about certain friendship breakdowns, people I haven't talked to in a long time, and I was like, what is that? Like, I wonder what happened, da 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 da. And like, I just kind of realized like nothing happened, babe. It's life. And we also have to realize that we are in a different generation. You ever notice how many people are like, oh, this person never calls me, this person never reaches out to me, and they make it this whole thing, when the truth is that like that's just a generation that we live in today. We don't live in a generation where you pick up the phone and call somebody. We live in a generation where you go on somebody's social media, you see that they're alive, you see what they're doing. You don't have to call them and ask, what are you cooking for dinner, or what's going on in your life, because we can just see it online. So it's like we create these like issues in relationships and all these different barriers and breakdowns where there really shouldn't be any. And I'm just kind of noticed this content being so consistent, and a lot of people are like, they mad it's you, and it's just like, when I look at all the likes and all the comments and even seeing some of my followers like this type of content, I'm just wondering like what that is doing for the brain and the psychology of so many people. We complain about friendship breakdowns, we complain about a lack of community, but this is the type of stuff that we create, and this is the type of stuff that we consume that really breaks that stuff down. Now, I'm definitely not going to sit here and say that I've not had my moments where I haven't been the most harmonic person. You know what I mean? I haven't always, I have my moments, right? But at the end of the day, I just feel like there is something that is so consistent in a lot of people in like Christian communities, and just even content creators in general, like getting online being like all this like creating this thing of like hateration, when it was like it never really gave that. Like it honestly, it really doesn't give that. Like, as I was journaling and I was thinking about the certain friendship breakdowns, I realized that like, okay, first of all, me and this person doesn't talk because we just don't talk like that. Like, I don't think we ever really have. This person is all the way across the world. We not even in the same city. Other people like, I think about everything that goes on in my life on a day-to-day. And I'm like, oh, like, I'm not thinking about X, Y, and Z. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not to say that we're consumed. It's just to say that I think that there's really something about life. And when you start building a life for yourself, sometimes certain things just kind of slip your mind, and it just really isn't a thing. And I think for the people who do prioritize, that's fine. I think there's some mutuality there, but I just think realistically, like, we just don't live in a time today where a lot of people are prioritizing their friendship with you. And what happens is like, we just have all this idle time where, watching people on social media, and then we start to create these narratives, and then those narratives are then like enabled, and they're festered, and like they're really negative from the content creators online. So I just kind of wanted to come on here and say that, because I'm like, what is it with a lot of people creating this content? I mean, I'm like, when I started seeing it in, from Christian creators and stuff like that, I'm like, like, I don't know if Jesus was like, yeah, and you know that's why they hating on you. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that's what he said. I don't really think that that's what it was giving. I think even with the people who were, you know, even Joseph's brothers, you know what I mean, it was never given, that's why they hate you. You know what I mean? That's why they, like, I mean, kind of, but like not really. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's something that I just kind of wanted to shine a light on today. And I think it's time that we really stop that. Like, I don't get it. Like, I grew up in an era where it's like if people were hating on you or if you had haters or whatever the case may be, it was like, first of all, it was actually pretty painful. You know what I mean? Like being hated and people envying you. Envy is such a negative emotion. It's such a very, it's a very parasitic and almost like disastrous and evil spirit, if I'm being honest. So it's like, it was never anything to flaunt or to be happy with or whatever the case may be. And I think for the people who take this on and it's like an ego boost and it like strokes their ego, it's very dangerous because not only are they arrogant, but they're also very, they're not very self-aware, right? And so instead of like really being honest and like taking the time to like write in a notebook and maybe figure out why have certain friendships breaking down and what have you done to communicate, what have you done to contribute to those breakdowns, because it's just life. Like, we don't live in that type of generation. Like, unless you're a millennial, right, then you maybe have that type of, you know, y'all still probably get together every now and then, but like Gen Z, we don't do that. So it's like, let's not make it a thing where it's not a thing. And if you really sit and be honest with yourself about certain breakdowns, like certain things just happen. Like some people grow apart. There are people who, you know, you may have done something to somebody else and they actually did not forgive you. Like they don't want to be your friend. They don't want to reconcile. You know what I mean? Like there's just a multitude of things that really contribute to breakdowns and contribute to people not really wanting to deal with us, that a lot of times it's not necessarily personal. And sometimes it's just, you know, it is what it is. It's just kind of like life. But I just kind of wanted to come on and share that because I just see it happening with so many people, and the people that I see liking this type of content and the people who kind of like buy into that type of content and it just fuels them are usually people who really need to do some self-discovery and some self-reflective work to really step back and be like, you know, because here I am in this place, my life is a hot mess, I'm a hot mess, and I'm feeling like people are hating on me. And so really it's like we're justifying the loneliness, we're justifying the dysfunction, and we're really being enabled in our behavior. So I don't know, you know, sometimes is it nice? Yes, but I definitely think you want to be mindful, because I can assure you consuming this type of content is definitely going to lead to a breakdown in your relationships and in your friendships. I don't know where, you know, the spirit of jealousy is coming from. It could just be, you know, just being online and just being so incredibly comparative, you know, but I've always kind of found that there are some people who actually feed on envy. So if that's your spirit, you really want to check yourself, because that is a demon right there. You know what I mean? If you're someone who you really get like a high and you get fed off of envy, like you want people to envy you, you like when people envy you, you really want to check yourself, because that is a very nasty spirit that you're entertaining. That's a very nasty spirit that, you know, you're kind of like joined with and you're yoked with, and you really want to pray for deliverance from that, because envy is a very hateful spirit. It's a very mean spirit. I mean, hateful is pretty much like the extreme. So, you know, just to kind of be entertaining that spirit and kind of get off on that spirit is just not good, you know, like, and I don't want to say get off, you know, but I'm saying like if you feel like there's some sense of alleviation, right? There's some sense of like, it makes you feel good about yourself, you know what I mean, to like make people envious of you. And there are some people like that. There are people who actually want people to be envious of them. They get some type of, you know, sense of self-esteem or confidence from people envying them. But I'm telling you right now, you know, that is definitely not gonna really give you any sustainable sense of confidence, and you're never gonna have any real friends and relationships. So as we get older, I can say too, just to kind of like sidebar, because everything I was saying about journaling, and these are things that I did today, I realized that I have become such a forgiving person as I got older, because I don't know, when I think about certain things, and you know, if somebody is just like not like I can't deal with it because their stuff and their trauma and their issues and whatever is like harming me, it's causing me harm, then I just won't deal. But it's like I'd be having so much compassion for people, because it's like when I just sit and think about people's lives, a lot of people are really sad, you know, like they're really sad, their spirits are downtrodden, like they're just really sad. Like I think I literally imagine them in their lives, and their lives are really sad, you know. And I don't say that from like a, you know, I'm being honest, you know, like I'm like, that's, you know, that's really sad. So I feel like a lot of times the people who do, you know, find themselves in those spaces, like they're just really sad, like their spirit is broken. So, you know, just we have to be aware, we have to be mindful, you know. It's not our job necessarily, but it's definitely like having that compassion, because you just realize like people just be in different spaces. And you know, too, you start to just realize as you get older just how rare it is to have real people in your life, to have good people in your life, to have people who are trustworthy, people who are honest, people who are authentic, you know, people who really do have sincere intentions and like genuine motives. And that's another thing, right? That's the other end of the spectrum. You have a lot of people who, you know, come online and they're like, when you know you're real and you know you're pure, and you know, and they just kind of create this personality of all of these characteristics of someone who they feel like would make a good person, and then they just kind of like, you know, just, you know, create this type of personality, and then they kind of perpetuate that. But it's not anything that's sincere. It's more so like performance based, and it's, you know, memory, you know. And so they just do all these different things, but it's not anything that's very sincere to them. It's not anything genuine. They know how to make something sound good. You know, you watch something long enough, you start to enact it in your own life, and you know, you do something long enough, you start to believe it yourself. But it's like, that's not really who you are, you know. So I'm always worried of people like that as well, who are like, you know, you know, loyalty is this and loyalty, and it's like, this is I'm telling you right now, this is the op. So, you know, this is always something to just kind of take into consideration. Back in the day, we used to say, you know, real recognize real, you know, and if you're real, you ain't got to say you real, you know, because people are going to feel it. So I don't know. Some things are, you know, better left unsaid, but yeah.